of not just what to do in that game or the new expansions, but the next game. You know, like what's going to be the next WoW killer? What's going to be the next RuneScape? Or it doesn't have to be that literal. It could just be, what is the next thing like this momentous epic adventure that I went on for my first MMO? Can I get that again? And I think that this want and hunger is so rarely satiated, and yet it is like, it's forever persistent. It is something that will never go away, because that's really how special all of that is.
It's more than a fantasy, because it really exists. It's more than a game, because it never ends. And it's a giant leap beyond anything you've ever seen before.
Now, maybe we live in a world where, like, most games are online, and there's just a lot of online games, and you can play them very socially, between Discord, social medias, even single-player games, if you're streaming it, or something like that. But back in the day, right, when I was a youngster, MMOs were where you got this experience. Maybe rarely it'd be a few sort of browser games, but most of the time they were like MMOs or MMO adjacent. And this was such a magical thing. And we have a lot of new games, and some of that magic has been sort of spread out, you know? When you think about, like, the really cool seasonal events, you can get that in Fortnite, which is a shooter game. When you think about the really epic expansions and things like that, well, I mean, there are games like Monster Hunter that do have, like, expansions, DLC, you know, consistent drip feed. Like, there are games as a service that can do that, and they can be action RPGs, swords and sorcery and all sorts of cool stuff. But when it comes to the full picture, right, the full, like, big world, lots of players, lots of different classes, lots of different ways of playing with PvE, PvP, different kinds of all of those things, the different theme park rides, all of this, all combined, all together, especially wrapped with a sort of a ribbon of roleplay, it's just something sort of magical. And that magic, as I've described previously throughout my career, is the magic of discovery. And if you play something like an open world game like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, these experiences are awesome, but now imagine sharing that with people who are all playing the game in their own different unique ways. It's really freaking cool, and it's kind of a little bit special. And every MMO does it a little different and a little specialer. But that magic of discovery eventually, even though it does last a long time, it does eventually fade. And you want that again, you know, new technology, new friends, new people, new ways of exploring and doing this. And the problem that I think MMO gamers have is a tremendous bias when it comes to the first game they played. They got a certain form and flavor of this, and they're looking for kind of the same thing but better. You know, a little more grand, a little bigger in different ways, but for the most part in the same direction. But then also the fact that I think we, as a community, as a society, we haven't really built a lot of new and special experiences that really do it justice. I don't think that we followed through with the promise that we started when this genre was first invented. So a lot of people are getting kind of like appetized. There's some cool stuff here and there, every new MMO, you know, but I don't think we have the same optimism that we used to have, and yet, and this is the problem, this is why it's a problem, and yet we still chase the dragon, and we still are looking for carrots. You know, like, we want something that we used to have when we were younger, and not just when we were younger, but when the genre was more youthful, when it had more weird ideas and experimentation, and kind of actually, like, had a focus to an extent. Even though it seemed all over the place, the external abstraction, the focus of, I want to build a living, breathing world, that was more accurate to what the players actually wanted than, even though we have better people, you know, like artists and coders and designers in general, like any one mechanic in isolation is like, that's a proper good button, that's a good, you know, UX design, that's a good this or that. Even though these games are gooder in technicality, the problem is that they're not developed as third spaces. Now, especially in the West, and especially if you live in America, I know this, we don't really have that anymore. You know, I used to just ride around the boulevard in Myrtle Beach, and I'd go to arcades and eat ice cream, and I loved that. You know, very Stranger Things. Okay, and Myrtle Beach is a very nostalgic town, but you should definitely visit. But now, since moving around, I've noticed that most of America and honestly, even Myrtle Beach, right? All of America is not that fun and social. Real life as well. Like we're so stressed. We're doing so much. A lot of people say, oh, we're just growing up and we don't have time. I don't think it's we as individuals who don't have time. I think it's kind of a societal problem. Okay. And so we have a more hunger, unsatiated, and a want for what MMOs should be. But what we end up getting is just kind of teases. We get little bits and teases of what could be, you know? What happened to like robust guild features? What happened to seasonal events in MMOs? I mean, we get some, but why is it that Fortnite and random other not MMO games, like freaking Monster Hunter does some cool seasonal events, why are we not getting that in MMOs anymore? Why is it that the features that were unique to the genre are actually done better in not the genre that they originated in? What's going on with that? And what happened to this genre that was known for experimentation and just having really awesome technical feats? And now people look at them in the new games and it's like, wow, that's Unreal Engine slop. Wow, that's just kind of the same stuff over and over again. Wow, the same crafting systems. Wow, the same combat systems. And maybe they do change around the combat systems here or there. And like maybe once a decade, we'll get a game that's a little weird and different. But it's still filled with so many problems because their intention is not to really create a living, breathing world, even if they have living, breathing world mechanics. Their intention is to make money.
I'm Mr. T and I'm a night elf mohawk. What's your game?
World of Warcraft.
I don't mean to disarm anybody by saying, hey, this is escapist fantasy, you're just chasing a carrot on a stick. But there is a problem with that when you are desperate for that. And if we're not getting it, I think that what we have to do is go to other games. There really is this strange stickiness when it comes to the term MMO. It's so sticky that even games that aren't MMOs, such as World of Tanks being the greatest offender of this, is considered an MMO. Yeah, that's what they call themselves, and in some list videos, sometimes you'll see that, and that's ridiculous. Another problem is that gamers, while you can actually have very social and interesting roleplay experiences in non-MMO games, you're like this desperation and this hunger is infecting the internet because you just type in top 10 MMOs, and in fact look at even my peers like Josh Strafe Hayes, the Lazy Peon, and basically literally everyone else. Look at what they do for their list videos or how they talk about what is an MMO and what is not an MMO, and you'll see that they basically do, even they, it's weird, they have rant videos of what is or is not an MMO, and yet they don't actually like attack that. Because what happens is everyone is talking about just any online game that you can cooperate with, or maybe there's open world PvP, that's an MMO. Like if it vaguely resembles old MMOs in terms of art style or aesthetic, or maybe a mechanic here or there, suddenly it's an MMO. And in fact, I myself actually got into a fight with some very big people. Omer from MMO Huts back in the day actually was like, yeah, dude, freaking, yeah, chess is an MMO. What? Dude, no, there really is a very specific and pure thing that was created back in the day and is still perpetrated. And I wanted to make videos where I talk about it. Like if I do a list video, I'll call out, I'll be like, yeah, Guild Wars 2 is an MMO. But I'm not going to list Guild Wars 1 as an MMO. They are totally different genres, totally different games, even admitted by the developers themselves. Same thing with Path of Exile. I'm not going to say Path of Exile or Warframe is an MMO, but everyone else will.
76
because there is a
isn't really an MMO
desperation
either.
For
a
hunger, no, not even a hunger, a starvation for the experience of what these games could be and kind of give you, but not quite satiated. And it's not even satiated in proper MMOs, like modern World of Warcraft is an MMO, but only barely based on technicality. Classic, and especially like if you play Classic Hardcore, is much, much more a community, communicative, and that's a freaking awesome way to experience it. It's hyper social, but not in a way of just being stuck co-op with some dudes and then just running it down. That's not, I like to play with the full breadth of the full community. And I do game invasions and things like that with games like we did PlanetSide 2, we did a Guild Wars 2 run, and I would love to do more. In fact, I was even thinking Lord of the Rings, maybe, if you guys would love that. But the problem is from two different directions. I'll say it again, that developers have sort of streamlined and become gooder at making MMOs that probably make money, at least for a little bit, and then they can shut them down and then do them again. We got Ion 2, Terra 2, and who knows how many 2s are coming out. Again, I'm going to give grace to Guild Wars 2 because that's actually a different kind of game. But, look at games like RuneScape. RuneScape is a game that's championed as one of the best MMOs, and objectively, its quests are kind of the best. but not as an MMO. Same thing with Final Fantasy XIV. Again, amazing music, you know, amazing story. It's a really great RPG that happens to be online, and even in some capacity, can be massively multiplayer. Then we do have games that are good third spaces. Like, honestly, Warframe is kind of fun to jump around. You just, you know, do the hub town stuff. Same thing with Monster Hunter. And you just kind of hang out, and you can do that, and that's fine. But there really is something special when you get when you get both. When you have a game like Albion Online, I think is actually very awesome for this. You can go run it solo, play it co-op, play it in a number of different ways, and just sit in the hub town. And in fact, you can just sit there and just duel people if you want to. And I really appreciate that. But a lot of people don't, there's not that many games that do that. They're not very educational. Like, people aren't educated on how to play MMOs in this way. Like, I think a lot of people think classic World of Warcraft is just sort of like you run it down with, and that's it. Like, you just press the buttons, it's just grind. But they don't realize what that adventure really is. And I think I also myself have skipped many MMOs, like Lord of the Rings. I didn't quite know the full breadth of what it meant to play that game with its community. That's what it means. And there's some new titles out there that I think just immediately that's what they're marketing themselves as. Monsters and Memories is an EverQuest-like experience where it's like, hey guys, this is an MMO. This is a living, breathing world. You must play with the community. Doesn't mean to play a co-op, but like, you are going to be surrounded by people and interact with people, and that's the experience. And that's what we need more of. And I think we're actually, overall, we're getting that experience more from other games. Sort of like, oh man, Arc Raiders even, or like Hunt Showdown, you know, these sort of like survival, battle royale-ish, you know, extraction shooter kind of games actually do have like a socialness to them to an extent, especially with the VoIP. And I could say, you know, all these sort of micro mechanics of like, oh, the crafting should be more social, like in Albion Online. Oh, it should have VoIP, or, you know, it should have like voice activation and proximity chat. You know, we see this actually, a lot of people are hungry for cooperation in a social way with the friend slop genre, if you want to call it that. I myself have loved playing Peak with friends, but you want it, MMOs are kind of for introverts who, or ambiverts really, who want to put themselves out into weird, strange situations and socialize, but it not be like forced. In a way, like forced as in you have to bring in friends to co-op, you have to do that. But also, like, I find most MMOs, you do just kind of not just play solo, you play alone. RuneScape is a kind of a problem because 90% of it, you're alone. You might see players around you, but you're alone. You know, the MMO mechanics aren't really there. Maybe it's a little different in games like Ragnarok, and it's very different in games like World of Warcraft.
Like New World was doing that for me just fine with ECR. You know, like honestly, I would rather play New World than this, even if it is dying, kind of. It's weird because it's like in ECR, I could go heal people. I don't think people run ECRs anymore, though. I wonder what the community in New World is like now that it's dying.
Hardcore, right? Even if you are playing solo, other players definitely can interact with you. You definitely interact with the economy as you're playing and buying things and trading things, unless you're doing self-found or whatever. You can do that. Guild Wars 2 also is hyper social. Like, everyone's doing all sorts of things. You're mixing and matching different types of players, and it feels really good. And so there are games that deserve a little bit to be more championed, and they're not, because players, and yes, it's players also, players are focused and developers are focused on just kind of promoting and doing the same shit over and over again. They keep calling the genre MMO, and yet it seems like people have really forgotten what that even means. That's both developers and the people
MMO.
enjoying these games. The truth is, in the dark...
Nobody can seem to say it in a sentence. Dinner soon, kitty. 15 minutes. I have the right spec and everything here. No.
Ronan.
Marisa!
Eritor? Where are you? No! The screams! The horror! Stop! It's too much! I cannot bear to see this! Stop! Stop! No!
Shauna! Come back to us!
What? Okay. Where is he? I'm gonna go in there and cleanse all this off then in 20 seconds, yeah. Nice. No slime here. $124. This guy was a Mistweaver, huh? Nice. Oh, he was just fist weaving, probably full gear.
heart of it all, I guess, is that it's whale fishing. They just want your subscription money. They want you consistently addicted, and you can make really good content. You can spam new content. But in the end, are you flourishing a community, and are you flourishing a third space or a living, breathing world? Because it's really sad whenever there is more epicosity and a more episodic experience from frickin' Fortnite. Okay, you see what that's turned into, a big beast. In fact, even random indie, like by kids Roblox servers and Minecraft servers, I found way more of an MMO experience. And in fact, some of my best MMO memories is from like Minecraft MMOs. So there is definitely an incongruency with what players think they want, or maybe what they've been led to believe they want, and developers and what they think is good and healthy. But because MMOs tend to be done by bigger teams, there's stakeholders involved, and they have to kind of streamline things and probably curve around some gooder mechanics in terms of a holistic community for probably short-term monetary gain. All this stuff is kind of a perfect storm for this genre to be somehow very popular, and yet in its true state, in the accuracy of the thingness of what it is actually doing very bad. You know, you can say, oh, the MMO genre is doing great because World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, and Warframe. Final Fantasy XIV barely does MMO stuff, and Warframe's not an MMO. And World of Warcraft has many controversies, and yet it is actually still evolving. So I don't know. We're not going to get too much into that, but it's just like, it seems like people don't really understand what it really means to make an MMO and to be someone who plays MMO games. Now, me, who's worked with marketing, I'm looking at sentiment analysis, and I'm seeing that people in general are just a little ignorant of everything. And I don't know, I don't want to be one of those guys who it's like, it was better back in the day, because it wasn't. I think we're actually better now in many ways at making games, and also better at playing games. And that's a problem, and those deserve their own essays, such as metagaming MMOs maybe a little too rapidly, but also developing games in a way that are too easily metagamed. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, you can make all these robust systems and really colorful frickin' fireballs and stuff like that, but they're still just pretty simple buttons. We can kind of just understand the meta basically within a week, and there's no competition. There's no real gestation of the community in that capacity as well. When you look at games like League of Legends or fighting games, there is a skill ceiling and things like that, but in MMOs, that doesn't really exist. It's just, did you play longer? Did you spend more money? Etc. You know, there is some skill here and there with certain games. I would say even like World of Warcraft, you can have some creativity. But overall, games, I'm finding them very linear, but not just the games being designed linearly, which everyone complains about, but even games that aren't, such as Albion or Guild Wars or whatever. People are playing them linearly. As someone who's a self-proclaimed competitive gamer, I mean, I'm in the top 0.01% of any game I play. I cover games, I'm a critic, I review games. I take this it's serious stuff, okay? I know it's video games, it's just games, but it's what is fun in games, but like, honestly, the peak of humanity. That's how I see it. Like, it's like, what are we doing here if not just, this is what we're doing. Like, this is the thing that's the most important thing to me. And seeing everyone being so hateful, creating so much content that's frankly garbage content. I know this is a rant video, but you know what I mean. Just not saying nothing philosophically moving toward the audience, or really just in general, there's nothing being posited that is interesting, as in something new. And I think it is overall a problem with the community that we have created. And maybe I'm part of the problem, that I didn't take myself sincere enough to really find the better and gooder words to describe the problems that were happening. Obviously, I was a kid when I kind of started this channel. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I think moving forward, post this rant video, I would like to, every once in a while, come back to the MMO genre and really champion the stuff, even if it's not popular, the good things, the things that are actually making movement in terms of culture. And yeah, I guess I will also gatekeep, and there might be popular games such as Warframe where I'm gonna have to slap it and say, hey guys, not actually an MMO. We should probably, instead of putting that on our top 10 list video, do a different game. You know what I'm saying? That kind of maybe more deserves that spot. That is doing some more interesting things. And a myriad of other things. Maybe I could do more social events like game invasions. And if you guys would like that, please join the Discord. But this is just kind of what I wanted to throw out here. MMO gamers have a problem. it's kind of themselves. They got in the way of themselves, but it's also they've been educated incorrectly thanks to poor marketing of game developers, poor game design in terms of like what actually an MMO should be. Hey, maybe they made a lot of money, but I don't care. I'm here for me. I'm here for the consumer. I'm here for what it actually means to play a game and to create a community. And overall, I think maybe somehow influencers and content creators and just everyone in general, guys, like let's get on Discord and let's have discourse. Let's talk about it. Let's gestate on it, and let's, even if a game isn't perfect, let's find a way to make it fun. You know, let's find new ways of playing it, such as the invention of playing these MMOs as hardcore, or these game invasions. Like a MMO book club, things like that. Let's figure it out. If the people who make a freaking ton of money aren't gonna do it for us, and if the marketers and YouTubers who also are trying to make a lot of money aren't doing it for us, we gotta do it. Let's figure it out. Dude, if we gotta start a Kickstarter to make our own MMO, I'm even willing to do that. But I just wanted to throw you out my thoughts and feelings that I've been really chewing on for the past decade of not just playing MMOs, but critiquing them, marketing for them, and literally working on their teams also as marketing and community management. So I'm still trying to do that. I'm still trying to find a full-time position here where I can market some games or freelance and do that. I think it's all fun, but in general, I just care about this from a standpoint of, dude, I want that experience. And recently, I've gotten a little bit of it from Guild Wars 2, Albion Online, I'll say, and just to end off, dude, classic World of Warcraft, especially playing it hardcore, has been a gem. And I'm gonna play more MMOs. I'm gonna play more games in general and have more online experiences, but dude, it doesn't matter. There's been hundreds of MMOs that have come out over the past decade, and none of them have really evolved the genre, in my opinion. Or at least, if they have, they haven't been celebrated. And I don't think MMO gamers have actually gotten gooder at playing MMOs. You can see League of Legends or competitive games, fighting games, the skill level has increased across the board for all of them. And while we're getting gooder at learning the base, like floor, ceiling, or whatever, the skill floor of like an MMO, people haven't really been pushing the limits as much as I thought they would, or compared to other genres as well. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a deficit of the gamers, of the developers, of just, I think, everyone, of what this whole genre even means and what it means to make and play them. So what do you guys think? Let me know. This was a freaking rant, but it was one that I guess you could say I've worked on for a decade. Much love, friends and family. I'll see you in the next one.
Breath incoming. Shockwave. Run out. Breath incoming.
I didn't take any of the quests in this stupid place. But I got a cool trinket. Just gonna wear that. Okay, I believe I will stop here and go to bed. I have to go drive for 4 hours tomorrow, so I will be streaming that tomorrow, and we'll drive south to Seattle in the Prius, and I don't know what's going on, but so yeah, I'll be driving south to Seattle for 4 hours in the morning. At least I think I will be. So I'm going to bed early, and I want to go to bed early anyways. I'm gonna feed my kitty. Yeah, I'm gonna feed my kitty. It's time to feed my kitty. You ready to feed? Ready for dinner? Yeah. You always like food, kitty, don't you? Yes, you do. Watch my ribs a little bit, kitty. Oh my God. You can get up on top of me, kitty. You can ride it. You silly kitty. Look at this silly kitty. She's such a silly kitty. Yeah, she's such a silly kitty. So me and my kitty are going to bed. My kitty's so much better than you. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me today. And I will see you tomorrow. I will stream my drive south and I will probably sing, I think. I don't know. But in any event, I will drive south and I will stream it. And I love you guys. Thank you as well. I don't know. If it's raining or shitty, I probably won't. But if it's like sunny, I will stream it. I don't know. Let's see what the weather's supposed to be like today. Clear. Where is the weather? The weather. I want the weather. I don't want that. I want the weather. Give me the weather. Oops. Oh, yeah. You cute, cute kitty. Yeah, where is the weather? Oh, well, I don't care. So I'm going to bed, but I have recorded the entirety of this session. It will be placed on my channel, which is reflected here. And I will post these videos now that I recorded today. And thank you so much for paying attention to me today. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And I will see you tomorrow. And y'all have a wonderful day. You've been watching Skycat Live. Come to skycat.live. Click on the PayPal link. It's a cat. Click on the cat's face. Click on the cat's face. It's a PayPal link. Come to my Twitch or my YouTube. Give me a like, sub, or a follow. And I'll be back tomorrow to play some more Fallout 76, Starfield, Grand Theft Auto, all that stuff. And it'll be a nice Sunday. So, sorry to bail so early on a Saturday night, but I kind of got conscripted into driving to Seattle tomorrow, so gonna be rested so that that's not dangerous. It's kind of a long, dangerous drive down fast roads, and so I will be posting this session here, and yeah, and thank you so much, and here we go. I'm gonna post these videos here. I'm gonna stop this video here.